Hey guys, welcome to today's video on why you don't need more discipline, but actually what you might need to do is work on your nervous system. So if you're new to my channel, hello, my name is Elika. I'm an energy optimization coach and a trusted advisor for purpose-driven leaders who want to have way more energy because they know they need that to create the impact in the world. So I want to start by saying if you have realized that you do a lot of the right things, right? So you generally eat pretty well, you exercise, but you have noticed that there is a habit of like self-sabotage. There is an inconsistency in your ability to do things that are your intention of how to use your energy, the goals and the vision that you have, and to be consistent in those habits over a period of time. Then this one is really an important video because it might be the missing piece that you're not working through when I know you'll be working on so many other things, because I know you high achievers out there. Like, let's be real. So today I really want to talk about the nervous system. And the truth is, right now, there's a lot of conversation about nervous system, which I friggin' love because I just think it's a real sign of people really going deeper in their inner work and the practices that are working. And because they're working, a lot more people are talking about them. And the truth is, like so many things that I talk about, is that when we focus on things that human beings have done for thousands of years, even if we label them or market them differently, we tend to find the answers there. And so what I tend to find is that when I look at the nervous system and the work that needs to be done, a lot of these things are in a lot of ancient wisdom, a lot of older practices, or things that you have been doing without realizing you need to focus your energy there. You need to be more intentional in that area. So I hope that's going to be really helpful for you today. So let's talk about some nervous system basics first. You know me, I am the person that just simplifies all the things, right? So we're going to keep this really simple. So when we talk about the nervous system, there are really kind of three modes that our body tends to go into. The sympathetic mode, which is the fight or flight. So this is where you are like activated and you feel like you're on high alert, you're very vigilant. Those of you that in human design know your chart and you have the spleen energy center, and therefore you have that consistent energy on the spleen, you are like me, where you literally walk into a room and you know that you are scanning it for danger. Like, you literally can notice when things are off at the moment you walk into a new environment. That our nervous system is like proactively looking for danger. And this is the sympathetic mode. Then you have like the dorsal vagal, right? And this is the freeze mode. So this is when you shut down and you just feel this consistent fatigue also. Like, it's because you are going into, your body is going into this stop mode, right? So it's literally like putting your video on pause. And then we have the ventral vagal, and this is the safety mode. So this is this mode where we see consistency is living here. We see the habits, you've been able to sustain them. Things are just flowing and things are happening with a lot more ease. And so as you can imagine, so many of us, our body goes into fight or flight, and some of us go into freeze, but I tend to find that most of the people that I work with are predominantly in fight and flight, and there are moments, situations where they find themselves freezing. So let's talk about what most leaders need to focus on when they are in this chronic, it's like a stress loop. It's what you need to focus on by looking for signs. So the signs that you are wanting to see are things that are happening probably consistently, but you're overlooking them. So it's things like being inconsistent with your habits. So doing one thing one day and then one thing another day, one thing. But the key thing is you have a desire for something different. And so that those inconsistency in the habits, either the way that you eat or the way that you set up your morning routine or the way that you skip breakfast or rush out to work, that's not what you want. So this is a real sign that your nervous system is hijacking you because you're not doing what you genuinely want. Another thing is mood swings. So there are many reasons why you can be fluctuating in the way that you feel. You know, for women, clearly our hormone or 28-day cycle is a real governing one. But some of it is because there's this stored nervous system response to certain things. right? So we talk a lot about being triggered. So we know that our nervous system is having a reaction. You know, you can be triggered and you can go into defensive mode. You can be triggered and you can go silent. That's that freeze mode, right? You can be triggered and you can pause and say, you know, what do you mean by that? Or did you mean to offend me in that moment? Or and this is more of the somebody that is more in control of the nervous system. Another really obvious sign that I see is with food, because food is such an emotional comfort for so many of us, and that can come in overeating or undereating. It can be trying to use that as a control mechanism to actually regulate your nervous system. So what I have noticed that is with food is that sometimes I'll find myself in situations where I'm eating and I don't know why I'm eating because I'm not hungry, but I'm like, like, how did I just find my way into the fridge? And this one for me, whenever I catch myself doing this, and I used to be so much worse on this because obviously I've been practicing what I preach, but I always go, what just happened before then? So if you notice you're the person that you're reaching out for something and you're like, I just ate an hour ago, like, or, like how is it even possible that I'm hungry now? This again could be one of those signs. Always being on and just like feeling exhausted. So it's like you're activated all the time. You're on high alert all the time. So it's not just that kind of like walking into the room, but it's literally feeling like you're on the go all the time. And therefore you are exhausted. And then the other part of that is a sign that you're constantly in this nervous system reaction, this chronic stress loop, is not sleeping. Because that's the opposite, right? So that always being on, that's always having difficulty in switching off. So if you're having trouble sleeping or just even relaxing, this is such a common one. Like, can I just sit and do nothing? Oh my God. Like, I laugh when I think back at the Elika who tried to just sit and not be doing. Like, I still even know now that when I try to make an effort to be with myself when I'm getting ready and not have my podcast on in the background. I did a video on this. It was a really recent video that I did. I think if not the last two, where I was talking about that one thing that might be really something to pay attention to, and this is this silence and this pause. And so, I tend to find that those people that also have trouble sleeping at night are processing so much information. They are so activated that relaxation mode is very difficult. And so these are some of the obvious signs that you see where the body is just craving really a rhythm, but the trauma, the stress, and the hustle culture is just creating this activation of the nervous system that is not being regulated. So let's move into the actual what you're going to do about it. Like, what are the habits that you can cultivate, the lifestyle that you want to build that just really helps to regulate? So one of the things is when you start the day, this is the first way you can put yourself into a mode. Like, think about the gear of the car. Like, which mode do you want to be in? Do you want to be in stop? Yeah, at the traffic lights? Do you want to be on full go? Do you want to be on just slow mode? Right? So you want to be able to think about that. So the first thing you want to do when you wake up is to check in with yourself. And honestly, I find a really good way to check in myself is to touch myself. Like, to just put your hand on your heart, your hand on your chest, and just go, how am I feeling? Yeah. And you notice that day, how you are feeling at the start of the day, because so much of this work is about self-awareness. When you are self-aware, you can then pull out the tool that you need from the bag of resources that you have, and you can use the one that is most important for what you need. But if you're already on the treadmill of life running through the day and not checking in, you don't even get that chance to say, I'm going to use this tool. So I think daily check-ins is really important, and I like to start that right at the beginning of the day. Now, I'm a big fan of breathwork. And I think that, like all the habits that I love to work with my clients, I always think start with the smallest, most realistic, most sustainable. So for me, I used to feel that 4-7-8 was like the best way for everyone. Like now people are actually activating their nervous system calmness, let's say, by going to breathwork workshops, and I'm going a lot deeper into it. Some of my clients are actually swapping meditation for breathwork meditation, which is just brilliant. But the 4-7-8 breathing was really good for me because it was something that I could sustain for such a long time before I wanted to go deeper into the breathwork. And that was literally you breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold for 7 seconds, and you breathe out for 8 seconds. And this is the work of Dr. Andrew Weil. It's brilliant. He talks a lot about how it helps his patients with inflammation. But the key thing here is it's going to calm your nervous system and it's going to regulate you. And if you do 4-7-8 3 times, you do it for 3 rounds, like literally you have a 1-minute practice that can really be utilized. Now, let's break that down even smaller. For most of us that are in that constant fight or flight, where we are activated all the time and not moving, it would just be good to just pause and take a deep breath. And what we're talking about here is a breath that goes into the belly, where you actually feel, it's not about just thinking about the belly going in and out, it's actually about feeling the belly go wide. Like if you were to put your hands on your belly, you would notice that that area is going outwards. And then that breath goes from the belly into your chest. So if you put your hands here on your chest, what you'd notice is, if I just do it, I breathe into my belly, and I go into my chest, and just notice that my hands are moving outwards, but I'm not moving my hands because I'm breathing in through my belly, and the focus is on that, the belly expanding and going outwards, and then that going into the chest. My hands naturally separate. So just watch this. You see those 2 fingers? They naturally separate. So that can be a good way to also just check in if you are focusing on expansion, that width that starts off in your belly and moves through your chest. And that is the deep breath that actually moves the diaphragm down and makes sure that you are breathing properly. The other thing is with the breath is closing the mouth and making sure you're breathing through your nose. So we are designed to be nasal breathing. That filters a lot of toxins in the air. It actually sends the breath a lot deeper rather than the chest short breaths, which literally create that sympathetic response that tell the body, if you're breathing only in here, it's because you're trying to run from something. So breath work, finding a practice that is small and realistic that you can start with, and then moving into, more extended practices if that feels, is really good. And, recently what I've been adding to my breathwork practice is really doing sound. So for example, I'll breathe in and I'll go, and this is really activating the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is one of the largest nerves, goes from the brain all the way through the gut, through our body, and this really regulates the nervous system. So stimulating that vagus nerve will actually allow your body to go, okay, everything is calm, I'm in safety. So it puts you into this relaxation mode. And so this is one of the things that, activating those sounds. And, again, we go back to ancient wisdom, the yogis, the om. This was the vagus nerve stimulation. So there are so many ways that we have been building this into the ways that we used to live. And so that I want to remind you that this is generally always a returning. And the thing that I talk most to my clients about with returning is about try and look at returning back to the thing that your ancestors did, because that's where you'll sometimes notice that just comes so easy to you. Okay, another one is movement. Movement. You'll know that this is the second pillar of my energy reset recipe. So movement can come in so many different ways. My favorite movement is to walk, right? So maybe you're going to make sure that when you wake up in the morning, part of your movement plan is to go for a short walk your dog, whatever the walk is for you. I just walk in nature nearby, and I do that as like a warm up before my yoga or before I go in the gym. So movement. I also really love some days, especially if I notice that I check in with myself in the morning and I feel that my mood is low. I love a dance for a one song. So I have a playlist, which is my favorites. And I know that if I scan through there, I have some songs that like literally just move my body. I'll have some Afro beats, or I'll have some salsa songs that like literally I just want to oh my God, I just want to dance. And so some mornings I love to just put that song on and just dance for one song. And that is a really good way of shifting energy and really reconnecting back to your body. And when you connect back to your body, you can also soothe your body. Some people it's shaking. Look at animals in the wild. You have some animals that, if they get into a fight, what they do is they shake off afterwards. Some clearly freeze, but some just shake afterwards. And that, again, is a way of releasing the stress, the trauma that's immediate in the body and releasing that energy immediately. For some, it's yoga. So also think about yoga, that connection with the breath in movement. And, like if you think about some of the moves that you do in yoga where you take a deep breath and you hold and then you breathe out. So that is really allowing your body to utilize both movement and breath work. So you can habit stack by doing some of these as well. And then another one that is really, for me, just such a beautiful way to connect with yourself in a way that you're regulating yourself, but also checking in. It's just somatic work, like touching. Like it can be, there's lots of different somatic safety cues, but just touching yourself is really important. So like you touch your heart, you touch your chest, maybe you hug yourself. And that's just like, that's a reminder to yourself that you're safe. And so if you're safe, your body can calm, your body can go back into the parasympathetic, the rest and digest mode, right? So it can be stroking, okay? Tapping is a common one. So we can tap on some of the main meridian lines, yeah? And for some people, they use like actual safety cues. So if you think about a child where it has its little bear or it has its little blanket. So some people as adults, you can buy these weighted blanket. And this weighted blanket is like a feeling of safety holding you in. For some people, it's grounding. So actually putting your feet into the ground in nature, like tree roots, and grounding yourself, feeling the energy field of the ground, the magnetic field that pulls you down and balances out the nervous system. Okay, for other people, it's the tree pose, right, in yoga, which is also a very grounding. And then, when we think about the touch and even things like the weighted blanket, warm touch can be nice, right? So think about, for me, like when it was my period and I used to have more painful periods, I would put the hot water bottle on my stomach. And this is just such a feeling of safety. Like the womb area for a woman is such a protective zone. Like so many women carry weight around their stomach. This has been such a thing that I've had to do such deep work on. And it's because the stomach, what they're doing is providing protection for themselves. So they're carrying this weight, they're not digesting, they're holding in the stomach because they're trying to provide themselves actual protection. But a warm touch, even of your own hands, can be so good for that. So you're just remembering here that when your body feels safe, your mind will stop feeling that you need to discipline. So if you're relying on willpower to try to get things done, when actually the reason why you're being inconsistent is because your nervous system is dysregulated, then I really want you to think about how can you incorporate maybe even just one or two. If you're ambitious, I know, then you're probably going to work through all of those. But as a reminder, these are the ones that I feel are really making a big difference to people that I work with and myself. Daily check-in, which I tend to do in the morning, like how am I today? Breath work, and there are multiple different breath works that you can do. A form of movement, whether it's go for a walk, do your yoga, or just dance for a song. Like somatic safety cues. So somatic safety cues, and I didn't talk about food, but food is also a somatic safety cue. But somatic safety cues can be touch, it can be a weighted blanket, it can be grounding yourself, it can be, like a hug, a self-hug, and it can be stabilizing your blood sugar, right? So ensuring that your body is nourished, not just through touch and the things that you put on your body, the movement that you give it, but you can also make sure that you give your body the nourishment that it needs through food, so your stable blood sugar, so your primal needs are well taken care of. And if you want some help to really, look at this assessment of why your lifestyle might feel like energetically it's not balanced, it's not right, you're dysregulated, you're inconsistent, then I would really invite you to check out booking an energy audit with me, because that's where I get to really map out all the areas of your life that are taking energy from you. And we really get to identify these are the key areas that you need to focus on. And if you're not already really looking at the lifestyle, I would remind you that I have a newsletter that I love writing about my lifestyle and what I do with my clients, and just the daily habits of what I do when I'm auditing my lifestyle through the lens of energy. So I talk about my energy audit and all the things that I just do, every day or every week, to really make sure that I'm integrating how to see how I can be consistent in the amount of energy that I have. So I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed doing it. And if you did, please like this video so that more people can be notified and see it. And if you think that this is something that you want to learn more about and we want to be on that journey together, then all the videos that I talk about on this channel are really about all the different ways of your lifestyle where you can manage your energy way more efficiently. So make sure that you do subscribe, and take care.